1 second. Okay, thank you, Brian. This way we could share whatever we say with others who weren't able to join us. But the whole purpose of the evening really just was to take a few minutes and share some thoughts about Grandma before going into this time of the first Yahrzeit, which is so hard to believe it's a year. Hi, Nora. There you go.
Hi.
Welcome. Welcome. We have Dina and Yora and you and Brian. Anyhow, Leo, you want to start? Want to share anything? Any thoughts?
Oh boy. I feel like because I didn't have a lot of time to think about it, all I can think of are really funny stories that don't necessarily.
Oh, we love funny stories. It's perfect. Yes, I'll take a funny story about my mom any day.
Okay. I don't know why this is always the first one that comes to mind, but she once called me on the phone and told me that she wanted to know if I was dating anybody because she had been talking to this guy who was near my age, who she thought might be worth looking into, who had a girlfriend. But he had been complaining that she lived in New York and he lived in New Jersey, and he was complaining that the drive was so far to like go get her, and she thought like, oh, I know this great girl who lives in New Jersey. Maybe he'd be interested in her. And I said, Grandma, I live in New York right now. And she said, don't be coy with me. I told her to let me know if he was ever single, and then we could talk about it.
That is a beautiful story, and it's so fitting because Grandma loved to do shidduchim, and she felt like it was her responsibility. And when we were at the Beis Olam this past Sunday, Rachel was saying, like, she was talking about Grandma, and she was saying that the thing about Grandma was that she felt like she had jobs in this world to do, and whatever it was, even if she wasn't successful, she would just keep trying harder and trying harder. And she decided when Miri and Karen were not finding their shidduchim quickly, that she started to get into the whole world of shidduchim. And she actually had singles events in her house. I don't know if you remember. She had a singles event in the basement. She had a singles event in the backyard with like 100 singles. And she planned it and worked with young people to arrange it. And she didn't make a lot of shidduchim, but she tried so hard to find their shidduchim and other people's shidduchim. She would constantly, it was always on her mind. If she meet a single person, how could she help? How could she help? Like, who do I know? Who do I know who might know? And she just felt like that was a mission that she had to not ignore. She had to take onto herself. So funny. Do you remember any of the story?
I mean, I remember the shidduchim thing going on in the house.
Yeah.
I don't remember the backyard.
Oh, that was something, because that was speed dating. And they had different spaces, different spots for you. And the people were going from table to table to table. And they had Shadchanim walking around also.
Maybe I went someplace else.
Maybe you didn't want to come with that one.
Well, I mean, I was married.
You're married already,
so
yes.
I didn't have to go.
Yeah. And she would take on all kinds of things. There's Dina. Hi, Dina. There you go. We were just talking about Grandma doing shidduchim.
Actually, Dina, you signed on twice.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm still
I don't
signed
know
up.
how to get Brian. I once did that, and I don't know how to get the other one off. It's just going to have to be.
So
Yeah.
I can leave. If you want, I can leave. Oh, there we go.
You did it. No, it's gone.
You're only
It's
one
gone.
person now.
No, I know. How impressive.
And you look beautiful. It's so good to see both of you.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
such a treat. Oh, amazing. So, we were talking a lot about Grandma and about that she got these ideas in her head that she had to do certain things. And there were all kinds of things that she did. She took care of a lot of people. She really did. We were watching this television show where this guy always says, what can I do to help? How can I help? That was Grandma's thought all the time in her mind, like, how could she help people? And she gave a lot of tzedakah that nobody knew about, that she connected to people, and she would just develop a routine of sending them money. And she didn't want me to take over. She was very emphatic that I should not take that responsibility on myself when she's no longer here. She said that's her responsibility and her decision, and I'm not allowed. And there was one distant, not so distant relative, an older woman who was alone, and she insisted it's not my responsibility. She didn't want me to become, take that on with everything else I'm dealing with. And each of us has our own tafkidim in life, and that was, she inspired me though in terms of doing chesed and stuff. That's for sure. What about you, Dina? Any memories? You lived with grandma for 18
So
years?
many memories. I really miss, I mean, I call grandma like every day, but I really miss talking to grandma before Shabbos. I think that's been hard, like not being able to give her a call and just like update her and how my week has gone and see how her week has gone and just, chat and catch up. But I did hear you guys talking about shidduchim. I was here, I was just muted. And it just brought me back to such a funny memory. I remember she was still living at the house, at like our house, and she had like all these resumes on the table. And I was like, what is going on? And she was like, yeah, like these people are crazy. Like all these guys, they're asking for like heights and sizes and like all this crazy stuff. Like, I don't understand why, like they're so particular. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I can't answer that question for you. But I remember volunteering at a shidduch event in the White Shul. I was like very young, probably like 17, 18. These guys were definitely interested in me. It was very uncomfortable. But I was just helping like check people in. But grandma, she really did want to help, and she really did want to help people find their matches. And I just remember her being very upset over the resumes. So that was a fun memory.
She always said that people were just too picky. They didn't, they were so specific that they couldn't find because they were too specific about it. They were hung up on it being just right. There's no such thing as just right. That's for sure.
I mean, I think it's a little silly when you get down so nitty gritty, like you need a size 0 and 5'2". Like you can't, build your wife. If you could, like, that'd be a different story, but you can't.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. So any other memories like on some other things that she did? She was she and grandpa were great gardeners. They loved them, thinking of the season with all the flowers and plants. That every year they would go out, right, Nora, and buy all kinds of plants and fruits.
That I don't remember.
Yeah, they loved. As a matter of fact, Grandma Dinah even, Allah Shalom, was she had a green thumb that was bigger than my face. I mean, I don't know how she did it. Grandma Dinah grew a tree in her den. She had a den in her apartment when she lived in Parkway that went up to the ceiling and then across the ceiling, all the way across the ceiling.
I remember that.
Yeah, because so it ran in the family, this love of nature. And grandpa would always go out and work in the gardens, and grandma would support him. And when she was here, she spent many Shabboses with us in the last year or two of her life, many Shabboses. And we kind of tried to alternate with Joey, or sometimes she would stay home when she could. And we would sit any time the season allowed for it, we would sit on the porch. We have this little porch, and we would just watch. We could sit in quiet, literally, and listen to the trees. There was this one enormous 3-story, 4-story evergreen, like primary, like a huge pine tree that went all the way up to the Shamayim. And we would just enjoy the beauty of Hashem, the creations of Hashem. And I was heartbroken because a couple of months after she was nifteris, they sawed it down. They just, without giving us any warning, they got rid of the tree. And I felt like, it was taking another piece of something that grandma and I enjoyed together. But she would sit out and love the flowers and just take it all in. We'd bring us some Sparrow, more books, and she'd doze off sometimes, but she loved it. She just loved nature, loved the creations that Hashem made always. There's Benji and Rachel. Wow.
She would talk about that. She would talk about the times where she'd sit out with you. Like if I check in on her on Sunday, she'd always tell me that she sat outside with you.
That's so nice. I'm so glad. Yeah. I don't know that. We tried really hard on Shabbos. Hi, Rach. Benji and Avi, we would try, Shabbos was my time with grandma. And because I always worked so hard, it was hard during the week. I'd be running in and running out. But Shabbos, when she was here, she was it for me. Even Brian could tell you that. Sometimes I didn't want to leave her to go to shul, but she'd say, she's fine, she's fine. I think of grandma, I think of her sitting at my dining room table with a sitter and davening. And sometimes it would take her a long time because when she got sick, it was harder for her, but she never stopped davening. She never gave up. She never stopped. She was just totally, she had tremendous emunah, tremendous deep, deep, deep emunah, and trusted in HaKadosh Baruch Hu that everything was a Torah, even though some things didn't make any sense. And, some things were wrong, we couldn't understand how she got sick, how grandpa got sick like that. But she never wavered in her emunah. And Rachel could tell you that. Rachel, you live with grandma so much.
Yeah, absolutely. She,
And I have to tell you that everybody has their own COVID story, but can you imagine? None of you can. I can because I'm closer. Being in your late 80s, sitting by yourself because you can't be out with anybody, conducting your own Seder. Grandma did.
Grandma did that.
And then when she was able to come, we had her basically every Shabbos. And she turned me into a Balkore because I had to read the Parsha.
During
the Haftarah.
COVID.
And
Yeah.
it was a double Parsha. It's a lot of work, considering I didn't prepare. So Grandma turned me into a Balkore. If I made a mistake, she would catch me every single time. Sound like Grandma to you?
That's true. COVID was really, wow. Yeah, we were really locked in, but in a way, it gave us that extra time with her. And all the time that Rachel and I had with grandma, we treasure. We didn't anticipate it. And I always have tremendous hakaras to Rachel, who took her life and put a lot of it on hold to be with grandma so many days of every single week. Rachel got into it not knowing how long it would last.
it's true.
That's
Shelley,
for sure.
every single week.
Avi, join us. Benji, you could. We can't hear you. Put your microphone on. Maybe you could turn on your sound, unless it's noisy by you. It's up to you. But anyhow, Grandma would.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, there's Avi. Hi,
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
we're just remembering stuff. Just
Yeah,
remembering.
I was
stuff
listening.
about
I
grandma.
didn't realize that my camera wasn't on.
Well, it's nice to see you. Benji, your camera's not on, your video's not on.
Maybe he wants to hide.
Maybe I think he's just he's on his phone. So
Oh, you're on the phone. So Benji, can you unmute yourself? I don't know. Oh, he'll figure it out. Anyhow, we really have so many good memories. So many good. There's Ben. Benji, hi, Charlotte. Yay, there you are. Good to see you both. Baruch Hashem. Good to see you
thinking
both.
about how glad she was to come to Eva's Simchat Bat.
Yes, she was very happy.
Very happy.
I think she told me like, oh, I don't care anymore. Like I'm coming. They better drive me. I'm not missing another family event. And then she complained to me that we took the baby away too fast to go nap.
Yeah, that makes sense.
She was so happy to get out of the house at that point. Oh boy. Yeah.
She didn't want to miss any events. She wanted to be part of every event that we had. And it really lifted her up to know, even just to go get a dress, have a dress made and altered. Oh my gosh, or to take something from her closet, which was like going shopping, because she had so many different choices and what was going to fit and what was going to work. But she dressed like a lady. She really, always took pride in the way her appearance and how important it was, to be there for the family, to be the matriarch of the family. She took that on very quickly after Dad, after Grandpa was niftar. She, I think, seamlessly moved into that role when Grandpa got sick, and she was Grandma was such a strong personality and a strong person. And she would, you know, she did what she had to do no matter what. No matter what. She pushed herself to the nth degree always. Right, Rachel? I'm sure you've seen
Yeah,
that,
I mean,
Nora.
I think that it's a little ironic to me that when we were all growing up, we all vetched about everything that bothered us, right? She wanted, you know, we all got used to complaining. My throat hurts, my stomach hurts, but she never complained. Like, I
No.
didn't realize it, like, it didn't really register to me until I was an adult that she never complained about anything. You know, she had, first of all, she said she had a very high pain tolerance. I don't know if it's true, but she never complained.
Because she always felt responsible to do what she needed to do without complaining. I think Grandma Dinah brought her up that way. You don't complain, you just do what you gotta do.
Yeah, but
And
she
she
didn't bring
did.
us up that way.
That's true. That's true. I don't know if you guys remember the stories about Grandma going to Israel when she was a young, really young, still a teenager. I don't know, does anyone know that? Did you guys remember that story? But I'm always in awe that Grandpa and Grandma let her go. It was right after 1948 when when the Medina was established. She went with, I think, a few friends she knew, but she went around the country, did all kinds of crazy things. But her whole goal was to give Chizuk to people there, to strengthen the land and strengthen the people and believe in Eretz Yisrael. And we found, actually among her papers, we found it was a postcard kind of thing about how she raised the money. Did you ever hear about this, Leora? She raised the money to buy what was it, Rachel? A Jeep truck kind of thing for a kibbutz, for a yeshiva, or a kibbutz.
It was
out
kibbutz
in
Saad.
by Gaza, right near the border with
It
Gaza.
was kibbutz Saad.
But if I tell the story, do you remember the story with her walking across the minefield?
I remember the way I heard it. I mean, I never heard it from her. I heard it from
I heard it from her.
Oh, I heard it from you.
She
So I
didn't
remember
know. Some soldiers said, "Come on, you'll walk with us." And they walked across what turned out. He said, "Be careful, that's a minefield." Well, I'll tell you how to get across it. She actually walked through a minefield to get to the kibbutz or whatever it was. And then they missed their bus and they stayed for like Shabbos and 3 days or whatever till they went back. But she came home and she said to Grandpa Meyer, they need a Jeep. They need this Jeep, whatever it is, they need it. And we need to raise the money for it. And she actually, with Grandpa, raised the money for buying a Jeep. And when she went with Grandpa during her honeymoon, they actually got back there. There was a whole long story about that also. They got back there and they saw the Jeep. It was several years later. And it was like sitting like almost like a monument in the front of the kibbutz. It was like the first Jeep they ever owned. And they had kind of memorialized the Jeep in front, but she did not tell them who she was and that she bought that Jeep. Because she was so tsunua, she was so, what's the word, modest about the good things that she did. She didn't need to get accolades or praise or thanks. She just wanted to know that she did the right stuff. And that was always the way she was. She never looked for anyone to express their appreciation in that way publicly or anything. Just wanted to do the right thing. Hey, there he is. Wow, we have such a beautiful family. Avi, you want to share anything or just thinking about it?
I'm just so tired today. I had a long day from work. Been focused all day long, so now I'm like, I'm actually drinking coffee.
Well, I get it. I know that feeling also. I found that unfortunately work can be all encompassing and exhausting. And when I would go to Mom's, she was like, "Okay, you're here now. You finally got here." It was hard to find enough time for her, and she needed the time, but she just needed us to check in, and that really meant a lot to her. that we checked in. And then on Friday, when she started getting 3,000 calls, like 5 minutes before Shabbos, she was like, oh my God, I can't get the next call. I go, Ma, they all love you. They love you. They want to talk to you. That's
She
all.
says, why don't they love me on Thursday?
That's what she said. They can call me on Thursday. I said, yeah, but it's Erev Shabbos. They want to wish you good Shabbos. And I'd
She
be
used to
driving.
call me on Fridays and say, why don't you call me on Fridays? So
Oh,
I got the
really?
hint and started calling her on Fridays.
You know, because
Yeah.
I think she was used to everybody else calling, and yeah, she noticed who called and who didn't call. I thought I was doing a good job until she told me Naomi called her 3 or 4 times a day, so I was like way behind.
But I always wanted to check in to see if I needed to go over there. I want to say that Charlie and Dina and Talia called her an awful lot. And
Oh,
she
that's
loved,
true.
loved it. Talking to Talia was like a special event for her every time it happened. She would show me, oh, look who's on Talia. She said, wait, I'm talking to Talia. I can't talk to you now. She just really, it really meant a lot to her that Talia was at, Dina, that you really made Grandma a part of Talia's life. And
Talia still talks about Grandma Debbie. She says that she misses her and she asks where she is. And we have to talk about it. Then we talk about funerals and where her, like, we go into detail because she's very, she has a lot of questions.
She's heavy on the metaphysics of soul. We'll put it that way.
Yes. But
Has
she
she
really
watched the
misses
Soul
her.
movie yet?
She will randomly say, like, I miss Grandma Debbie, like not like totally unprompted. So she really does remember her. And it's definitely special that she had a relationship like that with her, even at such a young age. I mean, it's sad to me that she already like is mourning somebody at such a young age, but at the same time, I'm really glad that she was able to build that relationship with her.
I bet you have a lot of pictures of Talia with Grandma, at least some of them you could show her so she'll remember.
I
Even
mean,
my-
yeah,
Yeah.
So I've got to tell you guys, every conversation that you had with her, I heard. Because Grandma would take her cell phone and hold it over here on speakerphone for every conversation. Because somebody probably told her, if you put it to your ear, you'll get brain cancer. So Grandma held the phone over there on speaker. That's all we ever heard was everything you had to say.
It was challenging for Brian. So Mary, you have anything to remember about Grandma?
I still remember her giving my friends piano lessons.
Ah, there you go.
When was that? How many years ago was that?
I must have been. I don't remember how. I don't remember. I was young. I was young, and she gave my friend Alana piano lessons. And
She
Alana
gave
used
them
to talk about.
cookies.
Yes, Alana used to
Cookies.
talk about the best part of the lesson when she'd go in the kitchen and she'd get cake and cookies.
She enjoyed giving piano lessons. She did, and that was a nice extension for her. Something special, something different. She went to work for Grandpa, and she had no training. And she was so brilliant. She just figured the whole deal out. She literally became the accountant there on her own. She developed all these skills of working with computer programs and accounting programs. I don't know how she did it, but anything she had to do, she figured out how to do. I mean, Rachel, you know that. You've seen her.
Right. I know her oncologist would always say that she's the only patient over 80 years old that has a smartphone.
Yes, she would come in with a smartphone. And I have to say that she fought so valiantly to be alive and to live as long as Hashem would allow her on this earth. And the oncologist, she would go in and say, okay, what's next? And he'd go, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if you should do this. Enough already. And she'd go, no, I'm willing to fight more. I'm willing to do more. And finally, she said to him one day, at the end of really just about the last treatment, she said to him, so at this point, what would you tell your mother? That I would have told my mother to stop a long time ago. But you wanted to keep going. And she did. She suffered through it, but it gave her hope to continue, because any day that she had was a day that she had to do and to use productively. And she really believed that time was a gift and life is a gift. And we just have to figure out how to use every single day. Even if it was making ratatouille, whatever it might be, she would even if at the end she would line up all the ingredients and then she'd be too tired to cook. but she would to be determined to do everything that she could. And I really admired her for that. It's been an inspiration to me that she could do that and she could keep pushing herself. I don't know. She had tremendous inner strength. And then I was always jealous of Rachel because Rachel would do two things at night with Grandma. What did you do with Grandma each night that you were there? Hi, Karen.
We would listen to a Dvar Torah and we would watch a movie. And we
And
would,
they had to be what kind of movies?
oh, it had to be something that would make her laugh. Right,
No,
she-
nothing depressing, nothing
Nothing
sad,
depressing,
nothing
no,
too
only
super
comedies,
serious,
only
right?
comedies. And we had to keep, after a while, I realized that we better keep track because by the time we had watched 50 movies, I said, I got to remember what we saw and what we didn't see. I never saw so many movies before. So, and she could have definitely written critique on all of them. She definitely had an opinion about each one. There was one that Avi recommended that she was like not happy with. I know, the Wine Country or something. Oh man, she did not like that movie. But if it was bad enough, she would make me stop it in the middle. She's like, not worth our time to finish it. So then I'd go find something, some short comedy routine for us to wrap the evening up with instead. But you know what surprised me, like we had very similar tastes in a lot of things, except for one thing. She loves slapstick. I'm like, how did you like slapstick? She loves slapstick, slip on a banana peel humor. She like the movie, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum with the people running around and all. That was like, she loved that. I mean, that was exactly Grandma's kind of movie. Like,
That's funny.
I mean, the movies that I really liked, she thought they were okay.
I got to tell you guys a story. When Grandma was being wheeled into surgery, I think she was having a pacemaker done. So
Oh, that's a great story.
I don't think you know which one story I'm going to tell you, but that's okay anyway. So we're walking down there, and she was talking about the 3 miserable years when Grandpa was ill. So I looked at her and I said, how many years you married? She said, 68. Somebody told you at the beginning of your married life, you would have 65 good years and 3 bad ones. Would you take the deal? She said, every day of the week.
Well, I'm going to tell you an amazing story also about Grandma that blew me away. Because I was with her when she went for that pacemaker, right? And we get into the surgical area.
No, it was Corey. It was Corey and me. But
No.
maybe a different operation. Could be.
I was with her, and all of a sudden, she says, they said something about the doctor, the surgeon, and she said, wait a minute, that is not my surgeon. They said, yes, it is your surgeon. And she said, no, that is not my surgeon. I am not having surgery here with that person. I don't know who that person is. I never met him. He did not do a pre-op discussion with me. I am supposed to have Dr. So-and-so. And
That was for the TAVR.
What?
That was for the TAVR.
You're right. Was it for the TAVR or the pacemaker? The TAVR.
No,
Really?
the TAVR.
The
Yeah.
TAVR, thank you. Right. The transaortic valve replacement, which she had after the pacemaker. So she said, I'm not doing it. And the nurse says, okay, don't worry, I'll check this out, I'll figure this out. The nurse comes back and she says, you're right. We're changing the surgeon right now. We're changing the surgeon up on the board. You're getting the surgeon you said you were supposed to get. I couldn't believe the presence of mind she had, A, to recognize it was the wrong doctor, and B, to insist that there was no way that other man was touching her. Because she knew who the doctor had recommended. Dr. Abitan had recommended another guy. She wasn't doing it. And she's straightened out. Oh, I have to tell you also, because Rachel and I went to many chemo sessions with her, that she felt it was her responsibility to make people smile. That Rachel, think about it, when she would go in, the nurse, she would want the nurse to be comfortable. The nurse could stab her 5 times and miss her vein, and she would not complain because she said, oh, you're having a bad day? Or are you new at this? No, I understand, it's supposed to be hard. She would never she would try her utmost never to hurt anyone's feelings and try, especially she recognized they had hard jobs, they had long days, and she would try to make them smile. And it was an incredible gift to watch her interact. After all, she was going through the people. She was going to have all these reactions. She was focused on taking care of that caretaker, the nurse who was there. And she didn't I would go crazy. Oh no, we have that terrible nurse again. She don't worry, it'll be okay. I would say, let's change the nurse. She'd go, no, you're going to hurt her feelings. She really was so sensitive to others in that way. I know she sometimes gave us each a hard time because we were her family and she expected more from us. But the way she was with people outside of us, she understood that your face is your Rishus Harabah. It's like the way you present yourself, you're going to impact on people. If you're miserable, they're going to be miserable. If you're upbeat, like my husband does, they're going to be upbeat. Like my husband introduces me always as his father. Wherever we go to a doctor, he did that today. And everyone looked at him like, look at me, you can't be his mother. But he makes them laugh. That's what grandma always did. She was an incredible thing. Even when she was so weak and everything else, she just forged ahead and made people smile. And I don't know, I just wasn't, she made us comfortable when we went with her. She wanted to make sure we had what to eat. Do we have something to do? Are we okay? She always did that. It was an incredible gift. Benji, anything?
Who are not Horowitzes by birth must know that if you're Horowitz, you cannot ever miss a meal. If you don't have 3 meals in a day, the world does end. So lunch has to be at lunch, breakfast at breakfast, and dinner at dinner. When I'm talking about snacks, 3 meals a day. So grandma had to have that food with her for lunch.
That's true. She needed that. She did need that. Yeah. Ben, you want to add anything? Just listening. Yeah. I just walked away.
Yeah. I enjoyed the time that I spent with her. It wasn't a tircha. It was, I enjoyed her company. We had fun. It was nice to be there. She was good company and we did fun things and, we had a good time. It's too bad she was sick.
Yeah, she also wanted to make sure that she gave as much as she could to us before she died. That she, remember the day she laid out all the jewelry and we should come in and pick all the jewelry. She laid it out on the table. I remember the day that we all, I don't know, a whole bunch of us went out with her for, Dina, you were there. I remember, I'm trying to think if Leora was there when we had that day that the women went out for lunch. I don't know if you remember. Oh, Leora remembers. We all went out just as women for lunch in the family. We met. That was the only time we ever did that, but it was special. Grandma initiated it. Rachel, you were there. You're in the picture. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a dairy restaurant.
Karen, you were there. You were there. I'll show you the picture.
I remember it. It happened.
Yeah.
It did happen. But, Grandma tried to, I also, Hanukkah parties in their house with Grandpa and Grandma. That was a very big thing, no matter what it took. And not only that, let's go to their 50th anniversary. Where did it take place? In their backyard. Because Grandma said she didn't want to matriarch anybody else.
Who made the party?
She made the party. She literally made the party so no one else would have to make the party. She wanted to make sure we would enjoy the party.
Grandma was breaking us in to have no expectations when our 50th anniversary came that anybody would ever make a party for us. So it did come and go, and now we're on our 51st. We have no expectations. What we do for ourselves may happen.
She also made a lot of weddings with Grandpa. How many weddings? I think maybe 7 or more weddings she made for different people. And it gave her great nachas. And she took care of every detail down to a spray to spray the bushes so dogs wouldn't walk through the bushes.
Okay, who remembers the name of the spray? Trivia question. Who remembers the name of the spray?
No, I don't remember.
Chaperone.
Chaperone, right.
Was on her list.
Every single detail, including inviting all the neighbors to the chuppah, because if there's going to be music in the backyard, how can you do that to neighbors without at least inviting them to the chuppah? So she invited them to every cookout because, she wanted to show her appreciation that they wouldn't be just, feel uncomfortable with the wedding taking place and they're not even there. She worked on every detail of these weddings and they were so important for her to do. I think her Makam and Olam Haba is definitely pretty high up there. Pretty high up there, thank God. God willing, without a doubt. She just did so much good in her own way. So I have a Devar Torah because we have to say a very, very short Devar Torah. I promise, very, very short, because we need to say a Devar Torah because when on the Yahrzeit and always for an Aliyas Neshama, they say that we should learn Torah. And thank you, Rachel, for dedicating Monday night to Grandma's learning, and you're learning to Grandma, and Joey, I know, also dedicated time, and we dedicated time for learning for Le'ila Nishmas Devorah Rezel Bat Mikhail. So this one's for Grandma. In Shavuot, we read the story of Rus and the fact that the leading Torah authority of the generation, actually the wealthiest landowner, asked her to marry him. And actually she asked him to marry her because she had the outgoing personality and she did what she knew was right, which is just like Grandma would do. And Boaz said yes, and he agreed to marry Rus. So what did he see in Rus? She was a destitute convert. And what he saw was that everything she did was truly, totally for Hashem, which is just like Grandma. And as a result, this marriage produced Melech David, King David, the ancestor of Mashiach. With this introduction, Rav Chaim Shmulevitz used to say that we see for Rus that if there's something we want or you want in Ruchnius, in spiritual growth, if your intentions are pure and you stop at nothing, you will get your way. We can develop this idea based on another incident from the Megillah. The opening verse says, "Vayilach ish mibeit Lachem Yehuda lagur b'stei Moab." That a man went from Beit Lachem in Yehuda to live in the fields of Moab. The very next verse tells us who he was. It says his name was Elimelech. Why doesn't the Megillah just say Elimelech went to land, to live in the land of Moab? Why does it first have to say a man? And to answer this question, we first look at the only other place, which I bet you can guess, the only other place where it says that a man went without mentioning his name until later. And this occurs at the very beginning of Shmos, when a man went from the house of Levi and he took the daughter of Levi. And who was this? This is referring to Amram's remarriage, actually, to his wife Yocheved, which led to the birth of Moshe Rabbeinu. The Baal HaTurim explains the link between these two verses, that through this going came the first Redeemer, who was Moshe, the first Redeemer of Am Yisrael. And through that going in Ruth, in Megillas Ruth, will come the final Redeemer, who will be the great grandson of Mashiach, who will be the Mashiach, who will come from the family of the King David. And on the Baal Trum's words, Rav Yisachar Friend quotes the famous Rebbe Shmelka of Nicholsburg, who says that since we see a degree of anonymity leading up to the Redeemer's birth, this teaches us that the Redeemer of the Jewish people can be entirely anonymous and an unassuming person. He doesn't have to be a great Torah leader, a descendant of a great rabbinic dynasty, or have immense wealth. Rather, any Jew is capable of producing the ultimate Redeemer, the ultimate Mashiach for our people. And by recalling Rabbi Chaim Shmulevitz's words, we can learn how this can be done. We need a will to succeed, a yearning to become spiritually great, and a pure desire to bring about the redemption. And this sounds to me just like Grandma Debby was. A yearning to succeed, and a yearning to become spiritually greater, and a pure desire to bring the Mashiach and bring redemption. And if we have these, then there's nothing that can stop us, whoever we are and wherever we come from. The lesson that Grandma gave us about life, about who we are. We are the ones who are now to take forward, move forward with grandma's lessons ingrained in us to lead us down that path of becoming greater and making our lives very meaningful and spiritually connected and walking in the path that grandma and grandpa both established for us. And now, just to share with you, Rachel and I have worked incredibly hard over many, many months where there are many hiatuses because we're caught up with everything else. And we have finally published through you guys, Divrei Eliezer. And thank you, Dina, for the beautiful cover that Dina made for us. Divrei Eliezer, which are Torah Insights by Rabbi Eliezer Horowitz. Is it coming up backwards on you?
No, it looks fine. Looks
great.
fine.
Okay, for me, it's backwards. And I made a copy for everybody. I mean, everybody. I made a copy for all of the grandchildren and all of the grandchildren. And if you have a rabbi that you want to share with or anybody else close to you that's important, we'll make more. We can make more. We have to express our Hakar Hatov to David Slacking, where Mir Hashem will have a wonderful simcha next week for his daughter Nakama, who's getting married. And David worked with us very patiently, I must say. And he worked with Amazon to produce this book. And it's special to us, not just because of Grandpa and all his work in this, but Grandma was so invested in Grandpa's Divrei Torah that she would type it up. She would make sure it was sent out to the local Rabbanim and friends and family. And she put her heart and soul into it. I'm only sorry that we didn't have it done for her to see, before. But I think she knows. I'm sure her neshama knows that we did it finally. And it's there for us. That's our Yerusha from them, from both of them. And may we be able to continue. As a matter of fact, Rachel wrote in it a beautiful thing, which I think really is apropos to say that while we made our best effort to collect the writings emailed to us over the past 10 years, about a 10-year period, and compile them to share with you, our family with love, we hope this book is a springboard for your own ideas and conversations about Torah. Please give the greatest aliyah to our parents' neshama by sharing this legacy of Torah learning with your children and with your families. And that, to us, is carrying forward what Grandma would wish. Oh, and Brian is holding a stucco box that he just made, and it has on it Le'ilai Nishmas, and it's, but he spelled Horowitz wrong, but don't know. Le'ilai Nishmas, my parents, your grandparents, and also to Brian's parents. And we made how many do we make? 500? And they're all over the place. So we want everybody giving stucco and we can give you guys a stucco box also, because you can use it for any purpose. It doesn't just have to be Yom Israel, Lawrence Cedars, which we made it originally for, but we paid for it so we can spread it to everyone. Just that when you give stucco, you think of Grandma and Grandpa.
The concept is you give stucco, you give it Eloi Nishmasam. That's what we wanted to do.
Right, which we feel is so important to them. Grandma, as I said, Grandma, the Sator and quiet, gave tzedakah to many people and supported people that you guys don't know about, but she did it. Not that she had so much money, but whatever money she felt she had was her job to give. She was not a thing person, although we're still trying to clean up the apartment, but that's because she went from a big house to a little apartment. We're almost there.
Anybody want furniture?
Yeah, it's truly an interesting experience and continues to be, but hopefully it will be done soon. And in Yahrzeit Hashem, we should all just carry forth the lessons that Grandma has left for us. And she should have an Eloi Nishama L'Torah. And keep her in mind tomorrow. And we will continue to celebrate her life. Anybody want to add anything? You're welcome to. Okay. We love you all, and we thank you for joining us. And this has been really meaningful to me. I'm having an emotionally difficult time, as obvious, I know, and Rachel has her own way of dealing with all this, and Joey is not here, so he's dealing with this in a different way. And Joey also went to say Kaddish tonight for Grandma, and he said Kaddish for a long time. You know, we appreciate the support from all of you. We really, really do. I mean, very meaningful to all of us. So we want to wish you a beautiful Shabbos coming up, a beautiful Rosh Chodesh. And just to remind you, I don't know if you all know about, I'm sure you must have heard, there's a special tefillah to say today for your families. Very said and ready. Right, what was this, the Shla? Is it the Shla? What tefillah that the Shla wrote? Anyone doesn't have it, just
I'm
tell me.
convinced that Art Stroll invented the Shla also, because it has a copy of it on the bottom of the prayer.
And it's a beautiful tefillah that your family should grow in Mass and Tova and Torah and everything else. And usually you say it on Erev this month, Sivan. But since Rosh Chodesh is on Sunday, you can't say it on Shabbos and Pali, and that's supposed to say it on Friday. So tonight is the night. This is the day. This is it. So if you have a chance, you can say it in English or Hebrew, and I'll be glad to share it with anybody. And may all of our prayers be answered. L'tova, even though sometimes we don't know what that means. L'tova can be very obscure to us. Because I read somewhere, we're in the middle of time. Wherever we are, we're in the middle of time. Hashem has the whole picture. We only have where we came in and what we're seeing. So we cannot get the whole picture. We only have a couple of threads of the tapestry of life to understand why things happen the way they do. But we have to remember everything is the Torah. It's for the good, even though we can't always see it. May we be blessed to see a lot of the Torah in our lives and in the lives of everybody around us. And may we always think about Grandma and the lessons that she's given us. Always take it with us. So thank you, everybody. Have it. Rach, you want to say anything?
No, you said everything.
Okay.
You notice that?
Have a phenomenal Shabbos, a great Rosh Chodesh, and a fantastic Shavuot, which is really around the corner too. It's so auspicious the time that Grandma left us, that it would be on Yom Yerushalayim, and we think about how much she loved Yerushalayim. We know that, and Israel, and we all do. We got that from her, right? We got that. We got that. All right, guys.
I gave everybody a link to Tefillah Hashla, which I just found online in Hebrew. You can get it in English or Hebrew.
Yes, it comes in English also. Yeah, yeah. So please help yourself to have the opportunity to say it. It takes 5 minutes. That's it. But it's meaningful. All right, guys.
All right.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Good Rosh Chodesh. We love
Kodesh.
you.
Okay, good Rosh Chodesh. Bye. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Okay.